Scientists from the University of Tasmania have just published new research that shows that logging increases fire severity. This study joins an overwhelming body of Australian research which shows this link. There are now 11 Australian research papers and reports which show that logging increases the risk of fire, plus numerous studies from overseas. Despite this compelling evidence, there is still some people within the forestry industry that continue to deny the link between logging and fire. They claim that the science isn't clear, and they often refer to two papers to support their claims. One is a study from 2016 that doesn't even analyse timber harvesting. The second article from 2014 has been heavily criticised by experts as it is fundamentally flawed. This is because their conclusions do not logically follow from their data. The data actually shows that younger forests burn at a higher severity. The science is not difficult to understand. Regenerating forests are usually drier and they contain young, highly flammable eucalypt trees that grow closely together. These young trees create a fuel ladder which allows the fire to easily travel from the forest floor up into the canopy. When the fire reaches the canopy, it often becomes extremely intense and very difficult to control. Old forests, in comparison, have a wet understory which contains rainforest species. This moist understory environment means that the forest is less likely to burn. It's not rocket science, it's a phenomenon that every person can see for themselves when they visit these forests. This continued denial by the forestry industry about the impact that logging has on fire severity is absurd. The big question remains is why? Why are forestry researchers and the forestry industry continuing to deny the science? Opinion poll after opinion poll shows that the majority of Australians do not support native forest logging. A recent poll last month by the Australian Institute found that 2 out of 3 Australians support an end to native forest logging. Even a study commissioned by the pro-forestry lobby group, the Australian Forest Products Association, found that 65% of people from regional Australia said native forest logging was unacceptable. The reality is that native forest logging has no social licence. People want our forests protected, and the forestry industry knows this. Western Australia have just called an end to native forest logging by 2024. Victoria has called for an end by 2030, but will likely wrap up the industry early, as it is so unprofitable. Logging in the fire-ravaged southern New South Wales is also questionable too, and may have a limited future. This means all eyes will soon be on Tasmania. You may have noticed an increase in pro-forestry opinion pieces in the Tasmanian newspapers lately, as well as a massive social media push by the Tasmanian Forest Products Association. This is likely due to the fact that there is mounting pressure for Tasmania to follow the other states and call for an end to native forest logging. The industry is panicking. It appears that they are on a well-funded campaign to desperately try and cast doubt on the science and change public opinion. However, the denial of the science is dangerous. If we continue to log our native forests, we are making the landscape more flammable. Do not be fooled by claims that a small proportion of the forests are logged every year. It's the cumulative impact that matters. For instance, between 1997 and 2016, 33% of Tasmanian southern forests were logged. That means vast areas of the Huon Valley are now up to 7 times more likely to have high severity fires. This puts our communities at great risk. It's now time that we accept the science. And it is now time for us to act. We need to do what's best for the safety of our communities. We need to put an end to native forest logging in Tasmania.